Oh no.
Oh my God, the sky
Right,
is
because
falling.
I was
Horses
planning on
are
getting one.
falling from the sky. DualSense
But,
5. There isn't a DualSense 5 controller. DualSense controllers for the PlayStation 5 are breaking, and people are angry. Well, some are breaking, but it's
Damn
something we
right.
should pay attention to. I wish
What
horses
about
were
getting one
falling
of
from the
those,
sky.
man? They're breaking.
Skip it up and that up.
Well, for the first time ever,
So the
Sony
PlayStation 5
for the first time in years, Sony's actually got new tech on their controller. It's like a new controller.
I mean, no. I'm thinking this will be a step up. They doing with their old controllers. I've got an old PS4 controller. As soon as after I get it, you get a fucking drift. Like the analog stick started. Like I bought one, and a week and a half later, it's walking on its own.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I have like 5 PS4 controllers, and like most of them have that problem. Some of them probably have that problem. We don't notice it as much because we're so used to doing it now, playing with that problem. I think they do that on purpose. Yeah, I think Sony does it on purpose. So to see the
That's
PS5
messed.
have it,
Wow, dude. Hell, my Xbox, my Elite. This thing, I've had this for like 4 or 5 years now, and this thing is still perfect. Really? Like drift's a thing still?
I think they do it on purpose. Just want you to keep buying controllers. I seen an article, basically saying how Sony knows of this problem, but
Wow, that's ballsy. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I didn't know that. Like, I mean, I thought Nintendo was the only ones that couldn't figure out controllers.
I've been on the market for over a month now, and you damn well be rest assured that people have been playing the crap out of it. So they've been able to put some wear and tear on their controllers and their consoles. And we've heard about bugs.
No. At this point, in my opinion, people haven't had enough time to put serious wear and tear on these controllers.
Yeah.
You feel me on that?
Yeah.
Both the Series X and PlayStation 5. But how have the controllers been holding up? Well, some people are saying there are issues with their DualSense 5 controllers. Why do I keep saying DualSense 5? They're DualSense controllers, and they're taking care of them. It's not that they dropped them or anything. And this may be a cause for concern. Could this be the next Joy-Con drift? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, this comes from comicbook.com discussing the DualSense controller. I'll read it to you, then we will discuss. Last month, we reported on issues with stick drift, similar to Joy-Con drift. And now users on Reset Era, Reddit, YouTube, and more are reporting that the adaptive triggers on their controller are breaking and becoming loose. Right now, it appears the problem is uncommon, and it appears to be the result of the trigger spring becoming loose. Typically, parts become loose when a controller is dropped, but the reports claim that the controller hasn't been dropped once. And that's kind of a big deal.
That doesn't even
DualSense
matter.
controller.
And even that's not a good argument.
Right. You know what I mean?
I dropped it once and it's junk. Dude, it's a controller.
This is the PS5.
Right? Damn.
We're
And
gonna fix this type of shit.
Like, this is your 5th try. Now, and here's the thing, like, can you imagine, like, being the customer service rep that gets that call and being like, well, have you dropped it? Well, is that a problem if I have? Like, dude, like, would you buy a phone that if you dropped it once, it's toast? In 2021?
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I think people look at that. People pretend. Okay.
Yeah.
We've been doing that for PS3.
Like, do you even remember the last time you slammed a controller? No, me neither.
I don't remember.
Why would you do that?
All my sticks.
That's messed up, dude.
PS4. And I couldn't wait for this controller. I want the controller more than I want the system.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that's how bad I wanted it. Like, I don't got a PS5 yet, but I was.
Do they
Walmart.
make is there a DualSense Pro controller or anything like that? Like they do with the Xbox Elite?
Yeah, they got one for the PS5. That was called some long name. MK100.
But is it an actual Sony product?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing as the Xbox Elite.
How much is it?
Like 2.
They jacked up the price on the new Elite. The new Elite's now like $179 or $189. There's a second. You got the new one.
Yeah. I thought you were talking newer. Yeah, I got
No,
the
no,
Elite too.
yeah, that's the new
Oh,
one.
okay. They jacked up the price.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was you pay like 179 or 189 for it, bro.
Yeah.
I paid like, well, now I got that one about a year after it came out, and I got it on sale for like 125, and that was like the like standard like sale price for the Xbox Elite. But when yours came out, it was you may have got it cheaper, you may have got it on sale somehow, or you may not have given a shit. There's also that. But I think you pay like 179, 189 for it. It's worth every penny. That is the greatest controller ever made, in my opinion. I've always thought that the Xbox, the not the Duke, but the original Xbox controller was good. Then the Xbox Elite controller was even better. And then when they got to the Xbox One, it's like Microsoft had figured this out. Dude, I know Xbox controllers that have sat in a drawer, and this is going to piss you off, have sat in a drawer for sometimes up to 3 or 4 years at a time, upside down, to where you know that those things were being held, and that thing still worked just fine. And so that I didn't know that.
Way more controls.
All right, then I got a question for you, man. Is it possible that y'all just don't speak up because of the fanboys in you? Because I've never heard of that, and you say that like it's a known issue.
Yeah, well, I'm not a fanboy of Sony.
I'm not saying you.
Oh, okay. Because I got all the systems. I just like the systems. I like the games, but I don't know, man. It's just, I mean, what are you gonna do? Speak up?
Yeah, well, dude. Anytime in the past, like Joy-Con drift. That within weeks, or maybe a couple, I don't want to say weeks, but maybe within a couple months of the Nintendo Switch being out, they were already starting to talk about Joy-Con drift.
Yeah.
Like, they came out swinging and screaming right away. Why are Sony fans not like, surely if it's a known issue that people are experiencing, like, why ain't people bitching?
I think people just got used to it. I mean, it wasn't a big deal to buy the PS4 controller. I mean,
say that again.
You know what? It kind of seems like because at first when the PS4 first came out, we didn't have these problems. It seemed like over time we did. I don't remember having this problem when PS4 first came out. The controls worked fine. I don't remember I didn't have 3 or 4 or 5 controllers at that point. The controller I had lasted a very long time. But buying them after that, over the years,
they started getting worse over time.
Maybe Sony started making them,
or they never
cheaper,
or they never fixed their tooling. Like that's a problem that happens sometimes in the industry. If you have a specific toy or product that's been made for a long time, generally, and this gets really nerdy, but you can crack it open and look at the casting on the shell and tell how long they've been using the same molds, because you wouldn't think it, but they make a metal mold, right? Where they've had a toolsmith like grind it all out and make it the exact shape they need for their plastic mold, and it's usually 2 pieces. Well, they inject their plastic into there and they separate it and pull their piece out, and you wouldn't think it, but that wears down that piece. Even though that tool steel's hundreds of times harder than the plastic that it's molding, it still wears it down a little bit. So over a long enough period of time, your molds start to age out. And unless you're willing to spend the money to go back and have your molds prepped and brought back to the prints, basically, over time your parts change. So like say now I don't have a PlayStation controller, but like this shell is made up of 2 different molds, a couple different plastic pieces that are molded. Well, if the mold that makes this piece starts to wear out faster than the mold that makes this piece, then over time these pieces won't match anymore. They won't fit anymore.
Yeah.
Well, now that's a big macro view of a failure. Now let's talk about the little bitty switch that runs this thumbstick. All the plastic pieces in there that also get created the same way. Well, imagine now the tolerances on those molds start to change over time. You eventually end up with a product that's not as good as what you originally ended up with, even though you're making the same parts with the same mold. That's your problem. You're still using the same mold, and it's so expensive because, get this, like when you're making a mold, it's really easy. You start with a big chunk of metal and you grind out the parts that you need and stuff like that. Touching up one, though, however, is a huge deal, because now you're trying to add thousandths of an inch of material back on And so companies don't do it.
Yeah.
They just don't do it. So if you go find some Mattel or Hasbro toy that's been being made for dozens of years now, go find one of the originals and go find one now, and you're going to see that you've lost a lot of fine detail on the mold over the time. And that's what I think that may be that would be my, and I'm not saying I know that, I don't know that for sure that that's what's happening with the controllers, but just being given the anecdotal evidence that you have about newer controllers suck and the old ones are okay. Sounds to me like they've never retooled their shit for the controllers.
A lot of them in the beginning.
Well, you would think that would be the way to go, but here we are watching a video about the new one sucking, and here's the thing, man. Like anytime, like I love to do that. Anytime I find a product that is perfect and everything's perfect and it's rock solid and it's the ideal version of that one, I try to get a couple because you never know when it's going to quit being available. Excuse me, but yeah, dude, that's like so. When you're playing those basketball, when you're playing your NBA 2K and stuff,
I don't play that anymore, so I ain't play that.
But when you're playing it, you had the drift on the thumbsticks for that.
Oh yeah.
So what kind of trouble did that cause?
Like, what do you mean? A lot. Like, listen, you had to adapt, and so over the years, I'm not even saying like Xbox controllers didn't fuck up, not just because there was something wrong with it, but from dropping, eating with them, whatever, sticky buttons, you adapted. Play game. You can't even use that use nothing. You play. You got a drift? Alright, well you account for the drift when you shoot.
You have to recenter it mentally. So like did it ever get bad enough it messed with menus?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Like if you go to the menus
so
and it just keep moving down and stuff.
Yeah.
You couldn't buy another one.
Did you ever say anything to anyone anywhere about it? Did you ever call Sony and be like, WTF? Nothing?
Nope.
Because it just wasn't in your vernacular or what?
It just, yeah, I mean, no, that's not something I don't think about calling. I don't think about calling the manager of Sony.
We got to get some more Karen in you, brother.
We just adapted. That's all you can do, man.
No, we got to Karen you up. Yeah, no, that's whack, man. I did not know that.
Sony.
Yeah, 100%.
If you would have told me then, I would have laughed.
You might have been surprised about what happened. You may have been surprised.
Really?
I've seen companies in the past go above and beyond, dude, sometimes when things are messed up. Like, and another thing is that sometimes if you end up with a defective product, it's something that they can't reproduce in the factory or at headquarters, and sometimes they desperately want yours. And a lot of times, sometimes, if you know how to play the cards right, it becomes more valuable to them than what you paid for it. Like, they want that controller more than what you paid for it.
You have to give me an example, because that seems very, like a once in a million thing.
No, it happens. You can end up with a situation in, like, say, a video game. I can think back to a situation, NASCAR 09. NASCAR 2009, it was an EA game, but it was made out of their Canadian office or something like that. And I was surprised, huge NASCAR fan. So I was playing the shit out of that game, and I was running really, really deeply into the campaign. And suddenly I hit a point where every time I would try to move on, my save was corrupted. And it was at a specific point. Well, I was narcissistic back then, so I would have multiple saves. I wouldn't just keep writing over the old save. So I had a save before the corruption and after the corruption. And no one else had that. And so when I contacted the developers, and here's the deal, like I tried to go through the normal means of just being like, hey, let me talk to somebody, my shit's messed up, right? That didn't work. So what I did was I started up the game, went to the credits, found the lead developer's name, called that office back, but I called their security office, apologized, told them somebody must have given me the wrong number, and could they transfer me to insert development director's name here. And they did. And they transferred me right to the lead developer's desk, and he answered the phone, hey, it's Dave, or whatever his name was, and I explained to him what was going on. And he was like, no one's told me about any of this. That's incredible. I didn't know that was happening. And then they sent me all kinds of craziness for me to send them my video card, my memory card that had the saves on it, that had both saves on it. and they sent me like say I had the small Xbox memory card at the time, they sent me 2 of the huge ones, and a couple of them already had saves on them from games that the development company made that were super starts. So like there was one game, Bad Company Gold. It was the gold edition that they sent me, and on the memory card was a super start for that game where you had everything unlocked already and you had all the weapons. And so they sent me that. They sent me a copy of that game. They sent me the collector's edition that was all gold bound and stuff. And then they sent me some sort of coupon that gave me like a shit ton of EA credits for buying games. And it was because they wanted my video card that bad. But joke's on them. I would have sent it to them for free because I just wanted them to fix my game. And in the credits, when they released the patch notes that fixed the corruption, they mentioned me in the patch notes.
So you don't still got that?
I still have the game. NASCAR 2009 still up.
You ain't got your name in the credits?
It wasn't in the credits. It was on the patch notes for the patch that came out. They put me in the patch notes. But yeah, dude, I mean, to them, that memory card that I had was way more valuable to them than the amount of money I paid for that memory card. And they wanted it, and they fixed it, dude. It was dope. They kept me posted on the whole thing. I occasionally get a little email being like, "Hey, we think we got it figured out."
How old were you when that happened?
It happened, and I was like 28.
How old are you now?
40.
Oh.
It was NASCAR 2009.
I got.
Oh shit, you're 28.
yeah, I gotta translate that to my year.
Yeah. You walked into that, didn't you? You thought I was gonna be like 17 or something. You're like, well, you were a kid, but no, dude, I was your age, but I didn't have what you had going on, and my game was messed up, man.
Well, not even that. That's still what, 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, different time. I guess company gave a damn.
Dude, if it wasn't,
you're not getting that now.
So we're filming this on Sunday, so I can't do this trick now. But if we were sitting here on Monday afternoon during regular business hours, dude, I would show you some shit that would fuck you up. Like, seriously, we could pull up, like, iRacing right now, and I could go into the credits and just find, like, some random name on there. And then we call their offices, and we call the security office, and they will transfer us to whoever we ask them for. I've done it. It's been done.
All right.
So, I mean, you just got to work around the system. That's all it is. Because here's the deal, like, even if, like, you go to the developer's webpage and their address isn't listed, well, is their town listed? Okay, so you know they're in Maryland. Try searching for that company's name in Maryland. Oh, look at that. Google Maps is showing you an address. Where's that at? Oh, so that's an address. We'll throw that address into Google. Oh, so now you got a phone number to the security office. Okay, cool. Call that office. Tell them the name you want. And tell them, when they answer and say security, be like, security? I was trying to call the front desk. I'm trying to get a hold of David Peterson. And they're like, hold on. Because they don't want to deal with you. That's not their job. They're not the front desk. They don't route calls. You called the wrong number, dude. Who you looking for? We're trying to watch TV down here. If you're at work and someone calls in and they call your specific line and they ask for like a sales manager, are you going to vet that call? Are you going to like, well, what do you need? What do you need? What do you want? No, you're going to transfer them to whoever they need to. Well, maybe you could do that, but in a normal corporate atmosphere, you're going to transfer to whoever it wants because you don't know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
You may very well pick up that phone and he's like, hey, I want to talk to Steve. And you're like, dude, that's sales. This is collections. And you hang up on him. Turns out it's the guy that owns the business. He dialed the wrong number.
Yeah. Steve.
Right, you know what I'm saying? It's always a Steve. But you know what I'm saying? Like, but so yeah, you just work your way around the system, and that bet your ass. If that had happened to me with those controllers and Sony wasn't going to do anything about it, I would go to Sony's website, I would find out who the lead hardware development guy is, and I would call the offices until I got them on. Dude, people like to think that, well, man, he's the director of, project management. No, he is a guy. He is a guy that sits at a desk and does a job, and when his phone rings, he picks it up. When he gets an email, he answers it. All you got to do is get to him. Get past the gatekeepers and get to who you want.
because the adaptive triggers are one of the biggest selling points. So
Yeah.
say if you're playing Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War.
Yeah,
Just
you're
is ridiculous. But
supposed to be
one of the cool things about
bow,
the adaptive triggers, because I
draw
played
a
Cold War
bow,
there,
you
is
feel the
different weapons.
tension.
Like when you aim down the sight with the left trigger.
Well,
I was so excited.
I know, right? Well, check it out. Like, the Joy-Cons had like that 5D motion control thing where they could make it feel like you were rolling balls in a box and stuff like that. And on the Elite controllers, they have rumbles in the triggers. You can feel the rumbles. So, like, this is probably the next evolutionary step to that. I guess they should have let somebody else do
amounts
it.
of weight, kind of like if you're lifting up a heavier assault rifle compared to a submachine gun, there'll be more tension on the trigger. I actually like that. I think it's cool. I don't think it's just a gimmick. I'm guessing
that's
something
cool.
with that mechanism, I'm sure it's fairly complicated in there, is maybe failing, and the triggers are just going loose. They're going flaccid, like an old man. Flaccid and limp. What the hell is wrong with me? So look, many people are probably going to wonder, Rich, why did you even make this video? What is the big deal that some people are having?
My problem with I like Rich. I watch a lot of his videos, but he's over the last 6 months been starting to do a lot of live shows, and so he's live for hours on evening. And what's happened is that he's got a crew of people that watch his live shows, and he started to like bring the memes and things they create in their live show into his regular videos. So now there's a bunch of inside jokes. You're just like, I don't know what that means. And it's all like the live crew. They know what's up. I like that these YouTubers get to do that, and I mean we might try do stuff like that too. But like, do not let the extra shit you're doing like change your day job. Like Rich does reviews and information, like, and it's slowly like you'll see a video where the first 3 minutes are all just meme jokes from his live channel that you have no idea what any of it's about. It's like, do the news, dude.
With the Nintendo Switch, that the Joy-Con drift isn't that big of a deal, even though people were complaining about it from the get-go, from when the Switch first launched.
How is that not a problem?
People just kind of brushed it off, and then it became more of an issue. I even have Joy-Cons now that have Joy-Con drift. So, yeah, it's a problem. Does that mean that the adaptive triggers are going to be a problem on the PlayStation 5 controller? We don't know yet. But the fact that people are saying that, look, it worked in the beginning, and now they're having issues with stick drift. It's not Joy-Con drift. It's analog stick drift. And the adaptive triggers are failing. Yeah, it should be a cause for concern. Yeah, it's video worthy, because this could become a major problem if the adaptive triggers and the sticks
were super early. PlayStation
PS5 just came.
PlayStation sell like 100 million units or more over their lifespan, and we're like less than a couple million in.
Begin to start becoming defective after you
on brand new molds.
Use them for a decent amount of time. That could mean that maybe there's a defect in the
it is
design
a sexy
of the controller. We're going to see a bunch of DualSense controllers having this issue. I wouldn't freak out yet, but it's something to pay attention to. And this controller is $70, so it's not cheap to replace. Granted, it's not as severe as if you have.
Stick drifting. I really want to buy another one right now. Damn, $70. I do not want to go in this game with a handicap.